Much appreciated. Thank you very much. That's the Minister of Small Business Development, Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams. Let's turn to this now. The South African Human Rights Commission says it's deeply concerned by the deteriorating quality of literacy in the country. The 2021 Progress in International Reading Literacy study shows that 81% of grade 4 pupils could not read for meaning in any language. Advocate Andre Gaum, Commissioner with the South African Human Rights Commission, joins us now for more on this. Advocate, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. This is rather concerning, particularly at the grade in which this is happening. What is it that we are not doing that we should be doing, especially around the early childhood development phases?
Yes, I think first of all we need to say that this is actually a national crisis. And everyone should treat it as such, not only the Department of Basic Education, but also the media and all of us in South Africa. If the position is, as it is, that 81% of South African grade 4 learners cannot read for meaning in any language by the time they reach grade 4, that is a national crisis, because all of the rest of your education, of the remainder of it, is obviously built on the ability to be able to read. So a learner is sitting with problems throughout his or her education if, this basic benchmark is not reached. And what is also concerning is this is up from 78% who could not read for meaning in grade 4 in 2016. So South Africa was ranked last out of the 43 countries and experienced the largest decline of all the countries participating. The Minister of Education, Ms. Angie Motshekga, expressed the disappointment at the poll's results, but stated that the decline in results could be attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic, which exacerbated already poor reading outcomes. While there is while there is merit in this argument, it would be remiss not to mention that over 4 million learners would have been catastrophically impacted, and currently there is no coherent plan, unfortunately, to accelerate learning and address backlogs experienced by the COVID generation or provide quality education to all learners who will come through the system. The minister mentioned a whole list of the myriad of interventions aimed at improving reading in South Africa, including the revised National Reading Plan. However, if history is anything to go by, the existing National Reading Plan is just a long list of items that have led to uncoordinated and ad hoc responses from each of the provinces. If any reading plan is to be successful in the view of the Commission, it must be clear on the minimum inputs, such as teacher training, learner and teacher support material, testing time to teach reading, timelines. There should be timelines for implementation of such a plan, and it should have a specifically allocated budget, which it does not have. There should, in short, be a single-mindedness across all teaching and learning programs and among all stakeholders and role players in the education field. And therefore, the South African Human Rights Commission call on the Minister Motshekga, to treat the poll's findings with appropriate urgency and develop a coherent, time-bound national response to the reading crisis, because it is indeed a crisis in our country.
Yeah. Are there legal instruments that we can use here? I mean, of course, it's a complex matter. Like the literacy crisis, to come out of it, it will take the department, it will take parents, it will take society, it will take the media, as you say, it will take all of us really to give attention to this. But those who are in the space say the 3 years of schooling, the foundation phase years, should be critical in developing a learner's ability to read with understanding at age-appropriate levels. And unfortunately, that preparation is not happening. And like many other things that are not happening in our education today, sometimes it even takes us to go to court to get kids to be fed at school the way that they should be fed in terms of a feeding scheme program. Is there something that we need to do at that level?
Yes, well, I think the Commission's view is quite clear. The main focus, the number one focus of the Department of Basic Education should be the foundation phase and should be reading also numeracy, but reading in particular in the foundation phase. And therefore, and that's why I indicated just now that there should be specifically allocated budget for that purpose. In the Western Cape, for example, they have gone to their treasury here in the province, and their treasury has allocated very specific budget for this purpose. And I've also decided to make the foundation phase a critical responsibility or a critical focus area. The same to an extent happened with Gauteng, where they also have a very specific program for grade R, which does not go far enough because it's only grade R. But there should be a decision to say, look, foundation phase is our focus. We are going to allocate specific budget in that regard for graded readers, for teacher training, and so on and so forth. So I think that is what is not really happening. If we don't get the foundation right, then the rest of the house will be built on a false foundation that will fall in, and that would not be sufficient to carry the house. So I think there is where the shift needs to take place. There should be specific budget allocated, and things should simply be coordinated better. You can't have a list of things that you propose should be implemented, but there is no coordinated effort to actually implement those. It goes to learning and teaching materials, goes to teacher training, even goes to in-service or pre-service teacher training at universities. Teachers should be trained how to teach reading, in appropriate internationally recognized ways, so that we can get out of this problem where we are at the moment. We are comparing absolutely dismally with other countries in the world. We were one of only 3 African countries that participated in this study from Pearls, and we got last of all countries and also of the African countries. Can't go on like this. And therefore, I want to call on all South Africans, including the media, to recognize that this is a national crisis. It is even worse than the electricity crisis we are experiencing.
Advocate Gaum, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. There you are. Could not have said it any clearer than that. Commissioner at the South African Human Rights Commission. We continue. In a moment, we look back at the report released by the